I and a number of people in Castletown were very, very disappointed to hear about Castletown branch being closed. And I have been trying to keep a low keel since I was on Castletown Commissioners. But on this occasion, it has worried me, the closure of the bank. So I decided to start a petition, and we did it in 5 days, and it was very good, and there was a terrific turnout. And I had letters back from both Jersey and from the IoM Bank. Now, I've kept a low profile also because I wanted Peel then to take over, and I didn't want to come out with what was said at the bank or what was said in my letters until it had sorted out with Peel. And of course, yesterday, Peel announced that they'd had no success. And I didn't think we would have any success either. But it was worth a try. And if you sat back and did nothing, it would have carried on. So I wrote, and the petition was sent to Jersey, thinking Jersey had done this closure order. And then I found out afterwards it really wasn't Jersey that had made the final decision that was made in the IoM Bank in Castletown, in Douglas, Isle of Man. But I think, should I say that this has come 10 years too soon. If it would have been 10 years later, the generation would have accepted online banking more. And there are a number of factors that have caused this closure of the bank. In the letter from the IoM Bank, the letter from the Jersey Bank was actually signed from the chairman, which was at least something. And I've got a copy of it here if you want to read it. I'm not going to read it all out now. In the letter from the IoM Bank, it gave the percentage of how much had been lost at the counter and how much service people had not used it. There are a couple of factors that have made this impossible to keep going. And it really started some 4 years ago when the square was closed in Castletown for quite a number of months. And I distinctly remember the manager of the bank in the Isle of Man then saying, if this square is closed like this permanently, I'm going to lose staff in the Isle of Man Bank in Castletown. And that worried her increasingly. And some people then went to Port Erin, believe it or not. They did go to Port Erin to do their banking because they couldn't stop in Castletown. Now, the virus this year and the people not being able to go out has caused more and more people to go and take online banking. And I have to be honest, numbers have dropped. I can see that when I go in the bank myself. Anyway, in the letter, there was a line which said, if I needed to discuss this letter with the manager, please make contact. So I thought, well, I've nothing to lose in doing that, but I've kept it quiet that I did this. So I got an appointment with the manager of the IoM Bank very quickly, no delay, and we had quite a long session, good 40 minutes, which I consider quite a while, in the hierarchy of the Isle of Man Bank. I could tell straight away that there was going to be no change in what they were going to do, close the bank. But I did come up with a couple of suggestions, partly to say the bluntness of closing on a certain date, could that be extended? And I said, well, could you give us another 6 months just to keep your customers a little bit happier? And they said no. And I said, well, what about an extra month, delay it for a month? And the answer to that was no. Now, I didn't come out with this straight away, and I didn't run to the press with that. And I told the bank I wouldn't do that until they had negotiated with Peel. I was disappointed that they didn't do that. It would have helped. Do they want to keep their customers, I asked them, or do they want them to go to some other bank? And they didn't want to lose their customers, but they're not helping to keep them, are they? And that's the thing that worries me intensely. If people can't park near a bank, and I know they're the only bank with their own car park, which I thought was a good incentive to keep Castletown open. But no, Port Erin is going to be open, and I was led to believe it's going to be open every day. I don't think that's been printed yet, but I've been told that that's going to happen. The bank did come up with a suggestion, and I'm not going to release that at the time. It's the bank. But I think the commissioners could help if their suggestion was taken up by the commissioners. I think the commissioners were still hoping to get the bank open, and that now is not possible. But now I think the commissioners need to get together with the IoM Bank and try and do something else to help the people in Castletown, even if it might be only for 1 or 2 days a week. I've been a customer there for many, many years, and the staff of there have been absolutely wonderful. I won't do interline banking. I'll be quite honest with you, I won't do it. I don't trust it for a start. And I like to go in and talk to the young ladies and the staff who have always been very helpful, and the atmosphere in the bank has been excellent. I can't praise the staff, and I feel sorry for some of them who have been there since school days, working in the IoM Bank in Castletown. I remember it when the manager lived above the bank, and I know now the bank, probably the property is too big for them, and they're going to move on. I regret this very much. I regret for the people of Castletown that I couldn't do more. I've tried the very best that I can do, but there is still a glimmer that we might still manage something on a temporary basis, and I hope that two parties could get together.
Well, you mentioned there that you did meet with one of the managers at IoM Bank. Were you surprised that they weren't more open to some of your suggestions?
I was disappointed. I did, Mr. Shivers. I met the manager, and he admitted that the decision was made in the Isle of Man, not in Jersey. Now, that did surprise me. Well, I couldn't believe that they couldn't have maybe used 2 days a week, but to go from complete closure to no days. 2 days in Castletown and 2 days in Peel is what I was hoping for, and we would have both accepted that. But no, it was a closed door right from the very beginning, which is not the really way to run a business.
Well, you mentioned as well that there are some options that you are still looking at and that you didn't want to go into exact details, but what is the bare minimum that you need in Castletown?
A bank, an IoM Bank, but that's impossible.
In terms of counter services, though, does there need to be a daily, every single day? Does it need to be within an existing facility, perhaps? What kind of thing is it that you're looking at?
That would be ideal, but it would be up to the bank to make that approach to whoever they thought could help them out. I feel hard on the people that the business people that might want change in shops, and I used to use it regular for getting change for churches, Choral Union money. I'm now, every week when there's a show on, I'm going to have to go to Douglas to put it in the cash every day. Not convenient. Even there's a queue. The last time I was actually in the IoM Bank in Douglas, and even had to queue to get served there. So there's something wrong somewhere, and I don't know what the way is. Peel are all fortunate. They've got no bank at all if they close there.
Is this the end of the road for you in terms of your communications with Isle of Man Bank, or are you going to keep on at them?
I would say yes to that. I don't see any alternative for me now. I've done the best I can. It's really up to the commissioners now to try and help them a bit more. I know they wanted the bank to remain open. I think they've got to realise now that the bank will not remain open. Restrictions of parking in Castletown hasn't helped. Half an hour on the square. You sometimes need longer. Some people have been getting prosecuted for that, and they don't come back. And I know the chairman said a few weeks ago that the square parking has got to be resolved. It's been resolved for many weeks and months now. It must stay as it is. In fact, we would like to get it longer, but I don't see them doing that. But if you shut the square, you finish Castletown off